Howdy, and welcome to this course on This Land Is Your Land. The great Woody Guthrie, and this is a folk song. And as there is a folk song, there are lyrics and chords. And so he did not write this as a solo guitar piece. He wrote this as strumming some chords and singing a song. And so we have to, when we're going through this, then what we do with the melody is to inflect the vocal melody. And so when we're doing this, we'll talk about the rhythm and how to treat the rhythms to make it sound more vocal and how he was actually singing it. It's also, we'll look at the way that the chords work within the melody as well, so that we can think about it as this way, so that it's a chord song and it's a melody. We just happen to be playing both at the same time. So we'll take a look at how the chord shapes interact with the melody, and we'll do that. So we'll look at the rhythm, we'll look at the way that the chords work together, and then we'll also look through and look at how this is actually put together. And let's just do that right now. So if you just glance at this, it looks like a whole page of music, right? What a big piece. It's not actually all that much material if you look at it. So if you look, I have put in these markers, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2. All of the A sections, and there are 3 of them. Here's A1, there's A2, down here is A3. They're very similar. It's just with slight differences in the rhythm and maybe adding a note here and there because the lyrics. So we added in a 2-syllable word here instead of a 1-syllable word. So then the rhythm changes, or it just displaces things ever so slightly. It's still the basic same material. It's just subtly different. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at all of these A sections together right next to each other. So instead of going through and just first doing this, then doing this, then doing this, instead we're going to look at all the A sections together, and then we're going to look at all of the B sections, and then the C section happens to be the same both times that it happens, down here and down here. So that way we're actually looking at similar material at the same time, so it's much faster to learn that way as we're kind of batching it together. So we'll look at the 3 A's, we'll look at the 2 B's, and we'll look at the C in that order. When you're practicing these, I would encourage you to practice it that way as well. So instead of just plowing through the piece from the beginning to the end, we're actually going to divide it up in this way, practice similar material together, and then put it back out and then put it into the context of the piece. Because when we learn pieces, it's best to practice the issues and not actually practice the piece. We'll play the piece ultimately, but to play the piece, we actually have to play the issues. We have to actually get through issue number 1, then issue number 2, then this is how we move through pieces. So instead of just playing the whole thing and constantly grinding on it, we'll take those out, we'll work at the issues specifically, look at how it goes together, and then put it back together, and it's much faster process, much better process in general. So this is looking at a different way of learning pieces. You can also, we've talked in other places about the 7-step process, where you first make small sections, which we're doing here as well, and you look at, make sure you know all the notes and musical markings, you know the rhythm and can clap it and count it out loud. We'll actually talk about the rhythm. And then you play the right hand by itself, the left hand by itself, play them together using corrective pauses, meaning you stop if you don't know what's coming next and actually look instead of blustering through and making mistakes, and then putting it together slow with the metronome and speeding it up. And that's still a great process, and you can still use that process here, especially if there's something that is that you're fumbling over. Then go to that, play the hands together, clap the rhythm. Start with those basic things, and then you can also work with that within the context of how we're working with this one, which is grouping similar material. So this is it's just adding to your repertoire of problem-solving skills and piece learning skills, so that you can ultimately go about learning pieces in different ways, and it just keeps it interesting and exciting, and you just get better at the process of learning. It's kind of a meta skill of learning to learn. So have fun with this. In the next video, we will look at the rhythm. I will see you there.